Do, 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 do. Welcome to the news desk. Oh no.
But hold up, wait a minute, stop that. I need to focus on now, not that.
Get your mind right and your money tight. Lately I ain't been seeing no.
What's going on, people? This is one of your hosts, Influence. And to the right of me, as always, I have Bryson.
Yes.
What's going on? And this is What We Thinking. The podcast that talks about what we thinking. So, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm down to 250.
250?
Yeah, after a month of going to the gym, after almost 3 weeks of not eating meat, not eating chicken, red meat, and pork. I started at 265, went to the gym this morning. Now I'm down to 250. So
that's what's up.
It's going good.
That's good. Good reporting.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm all right. I gained 5 pounds last week. I know why though. I was wilding out, eating whatever. I'm still exercising though, so I'm good. Good to go. Good to go. So I'll get it back. I'll get it back together.
You okay with saying your weight?
Yeah, I'm 215 right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like 210. And no, actually, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was like 210 because I'm trying to get to 185. And yeah, it's not going great. But like I said, I know why, and I'm going to change some stuff starting tomorrow. Not tonight. But because I ain't ate all day and I'll probably be hungry when we get done. But our first topic of the day is LeBron James is sleeping with his teammate's mom.
Oh,
I'm joking. I want to talk about Bronny James. So if anybody doesn't know, been living under a rock or just not a sports fan, Bronny James got drafted to the Lakers, and it's a historic moment for one. If you're a sports fan, or maybe not, I don't know, but yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So he got drafted 55th, which I think I talked about it in another episode that I said he wasn't good enough to go to the NBA right now. I don't think. That's no hate. I just didn't think he was, and I said they might do something to get him on the team, but not pick him. But I was wrong. I mean, it was a far pick. Like, people are criticizing them for it, and I'm like, what they were going to do with the 55th pick? Like, really? Like, who they were going to pick after all those picks that were going to change the game so much other than Bronny, you know? So, it doesn't make sense to me why people are upset. But yeah, this is a historic. I mean, it's historic right now, and then once they play, when they play their first game together, that will make history that probably won't happen ever again. It never happened before. I mean, that's crazy to me that LeBron is still playing in the NBA and his son is in the NBA playing with him on the same team.
Yeah, that definitely seems like something that's going to bring eyes to, to the games. People are going to want to see that and how it plays out, how it goes. I mean, I'm interested in it. I was at the gym and I just happened to, while I was on one of the machines there, I just happened to see Stephen A. Smith in the headlines of that he was picked 55th, selected 55th by the Lakers.
I see a lot of people hating on it, and it's wild to me because, I mean, people hate LeBron anyway for no apparent reason. Like, he's like one of the best athletes, period, in the world, and off the court, he does a lot. Like, it's weird to me that people hate on him. Like, just because. Like, people hate him just because. Like, and it's more than just the normal amount of hate. He's always gotten crazy amount of hate, and I'm not sure why. But they're like criticizing the Lakers, like, oh, this is the only reason they picked him is because of LeBron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Just like you probably only got a job because of somebody you know. Like 80% of the people out there, it's weird to me that people all of a sudden want to be up in arms about connections, and that's the way of the world. Like 80% of the people, you got people out there probably up in arms, and their parents probably done paid for their college, or done pull some strings to go to Ivy League school that you don't deserve to go to. Because I see people saying he didn't deserve to get picked. Like I said, who were you going to pick 55th? And I'm sure if anybody else in that spot, they're probably going to either go to the D League or get picked later, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I say congrats to them, and I can't wait to see it. I know, like I said, I don't think they'll probably put him on the floor just because.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think he's good enough. I'm hoping he works. And they throw him through the ringer, and he gets a lot better.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping he proves a lot of people wrong. Like, I'm hoping he gets so much better, because I've seen that. Like, there's been cases of that in the NBA.
mm-hmm.
Like, there's been people. There's somebody. I mean, there's people on the benches right now, on 12th on the bench, and I've seen people go and do stuff like just out the blue. Well, not out the blue. They worked for it, but when they got their shot, they showed that they belong there. So I'm hoping that's what he does. But yeah, I don't know. I ain't got that much more to say about it. It's very interesting. I think before when we talked about it, and he said he didn't really want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm sure he's happy he's in the NBA. He probably got $1 million maybe contract. LeBron got like $180 million contract. So I mean, what are you gonna do? like they probably have the space too. I mean, look at. I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a good thing. I don't really watch basketball at all anymore, but I'll definitely be interested to see how that goes. I'm interested in that story. And to see how that goes. Yeah.
And I think it may make LeBron play a little harder. Not that he's not playing hard, because he's still playing at an elite level at the age he's at the years he's been in the league. He's still one of the best players in the league. So I know, but I think it'll give him a little extra oomph.
And can you imagine him getting a championship
with his son?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be wild. And I think that's why I said that. Like, not that he's not putting in the work, but that gotta be a goal. Like, there gotta be a goal of his. I can't see it not being.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, championship's always a goal, but just that is extra. That would be extra. Like, if he won a championship, that would be insane, because that whole scenario would probably never happen ever in life again.
Yeah.
Like, you may in the future have another father and son, maybe. I mean, that's far. That's a long shot. However, that may happen, but to have a father and son team and then go on and win the championship, I don't care if Bronny sit on the bench the whole season. Like, that'd be something special.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever they picked at that time, everybody they picked at 55th was going to be sitting on the bench. Was probably going to be the last person on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? Why not Bronny?
I mean, do you know how their team looks otherwise? I mean,
it's got a lot of the same people. I think now. I don't. And what's crazy is that's what somebody said too. Like, the 55th pick was more interesting than the first pick. I don't even know who got picked in the whole draft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the first pick. I don't know the second pick. I don't know who they picked before that. Like, I don't know none of that. I know Bronny got picked 55th. Like, that's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so nature of news.
And how much does it matter? Because once you get picked, you got to really show up. Like, we've had people get picked and they didn't really live up to the hype that that was behind them.
Yeah, that I'm not sure of though, because I don't know if they would really cut him. That's the other thing. Like, I don't know if he would get cut.
Oh, Bronny James?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if he would get cut. Like another person might get cut if they ain't doing what they supposed to do. But then again, he might not. If he's on the edge of the bench, like he might not get a chance to really show anyway.
I didn't mean him specifically. I mean whoever is number one.
Oh yeah,
number one because like we've had,
definitely.
you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I haven't been watching college basketball like that. I really technically haven't watched the NBA except for the finals. I watched the whole playoffs I watched in the finals. But yeah, I haven't been into it as much as I have in the past. So I don't even know who's good, like who was coming out of college. There's that. We'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. They'll probably put him in early in the season. That's what they normally do anyway. They put their, they get their new picks and people that they're trying out earlier in the season when the games don't mean as much. So he'll probably get it in the first game, I would assume.
I wonder if LeBron is going to be getting them right anyway. Like, you know how LeBron works out?
Well, I mean, he's been doing that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason he's got as far as he's gotten, because I'm sure he's working him out.
I know if I was like a crazy talented college guy coming into the NBA, I'd talk to LeBron. I'd be like, yo, can you help me?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and you know what? That's what these young boys now, I don't think they utilize their elders. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when Shaq came in, he was talking to Kareem. He was talking to everybody, like all the big men. And he was taking knowledge from them. That's what you gotta do. That's the mastermind mentality. You gotta use other people's knowledge for your gain.
Kobe was talking to Mike.
Yeah, like he wanted, and Mike said he asked questions, like why they was playing each other. He asked, like, how you do that little move, like like that's what you're supposed to do. If you got access, it's the same. It's kind of the same argument. Like you gotta use what you got. Like it's kind of the connection argument. Like, yeah, he's in there because of LeBron. Like connections are connections. You gotta use those. Once you get them, that's the whole point. Like we talked about Biden last week. We're gonna get to the debate too a little bit.
Oh yeah,
I want to talk about it. Yeah, I want to talk about it. But yeah, when we talked about Biden getting his son out of jail, like, listen, that's what you do.
Yeah,
like if he ain't kill nobody, he ain't hurt nobody, ain't or nobody, ain't do nothing heinous. Like, listen, he's out of jail tomorrow. And he got waste no paper. Don't even process him.
When you said debate, you talking about the presidential debate?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been paying attention.
I mean, you probably got more brain cells for it. So for not paying attention. Like, the brain cells are probably better.
I think I've heard.
We can talk about it now.
I've seen some stuff on the peripheral.
True. True. Yeah, that shit was a shit show last night.
Oh, wait. So it was Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
And it was a shit show.
Here's the thing.
Both parties. Shit
Are there
show.
other?
There are, but they're not. Like,
this is the first time I've ever seen this where it's just
No, they always do this. But
no,
we got fucked up candidates. So
no, what I'm saying is before there were always a bunch of candidates.
Oh, there's still a bunch of candidates, but the candidates always debate. Like, there's independent candidates and other, there's more than just them on the ballot.
Okay.
But as far as Democratic Party and the Republican Party, this is it.
Yeah, but that's different.
No, there's always been one person. Like, they narrow them down to one person.
Yeah, but
it's now. Like, we're narrowed down.
So, but I don't. Maybe
like that was the like the primaries and all that stuff. Like, all that is all the other people. Like, all that's done. So now we here with this bullshit. I mean, there's other candidates on the ballot, but they're independent, which is what we really should be looking at. But everybody's not going to, though.
Yeah, for some reason in the past, the other candidates, the other Republican candidates and Democrat candidates were more visible to me. I don't know who the other ones were now.
Well, for one, you gotta seek that information out because they're not showing it really. I mean, they've had debates. Like we've already had debates with all of them. Like they've already had.
They're not showing it, debates. And why is that? Because they used to.
Well, they're done. Well, they did show it when they were still in the race, like when they were having the debates, like for the primaries
you've seen
and
this
stuff.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, you probably got to look for it more than you're looking for it.
Because from the jump, it seemed like from the jump, all anybody's been talking about is Trump and Biden.
Well, it was from the jump. Like that's all they've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. I mean, there was more than candidates in that. That's part of the criticism. Like the Democratic Party they always push the sitting president. They always push the sitting president, which is stupid. Like push the person that's best for the job. That's all. That's my gripe. But they always push the sitting president because they know the sitting president is going to run and try to win another presidency.
So what happened?
But with the Republican Party pushing Trump, like that's just Trump bullying everything. And basically, they're like, oh yeah, this is our man. Like, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people for him or Biden as just that they want to win. That's the bottom line. They don't care. They're not in it for the best possible person, best outcome. They're in it for who's going to win. Who's the most likely to win for our party. And that's why we have what we have. Like that debate was ridiculous. On one side with Biden, you got this dude that's in here looking like he's 5 years old, talking like he's 5, like with no incoherent, like saying stuff as usual. Like he really needs a wellness check. And then you got Trump saying just bullshit, utter stupid, dumb shit. Like the Guatemalans are attacking the Lincoln Memorial right now. He just be saying dumb shit. But what's crazy is how stupid Joe Biden looked last night. Like I would never vote for Trump. Like I'll never ever vote for Trump. But damn, I ain't gonna say I ain't voting for Biden, but I don't want to vote for Biden. And that's the thing. That's where you're stuck at. Like I definitely don't have any of the answers, and I definitely don't think not voting is the answer. I don't think that at all. But we're here in this upside down. Feel like I'm in Stranger Things. But last night was embarrassment, like for Biden. Should be. Like he should, and I think he was, because today, which I'm like, where was that last night? Like today he had a speech or something and he was fine. Like maybe he just was having a relapse. But I agree with Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart was like, listen, get these motherfuckers on any performance drugs that you can find. Like this ain't sports. Like fucking give them everything. Like everything they need. If it's gonna make them smarter, like give them all the drugs, because this shit is crazy. But yeah, that was I wouldn't have watched it if I just didn't happen to see it was on. Like we got done watching our shows and I said, oh, the presidential debate's on. Let me turn this on real quick for a minute. And I was like a deer in headlights sitting there watching that shit.
I mean, can you say if there was a winner or not?
I mean, I can say there's a loser, like Biden. like I don't know if Trump won, like with his points, because they were dumb. They were as dumb as Biden was incoherent. Like that's what makes you sad. That's what makes me sad. Is the fact that one end you got this dude that seems to be declining mentally. I say seem because I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's just like he said today, he was like, I don't walk the same as I used to. Sometimes I stumble over my words. He was hyped. He was fired up. He was like, sometimes I stumble over my words, but and he seemed fine today, but I don't know if he was having a mishap last night or what. Or maybe it was too late for him. He used to being in bed at 7:30. But yeah, he whew, I'm just tired of this shit. Like, I'm tired of like, why we got fucking 90-year-old men running the country? They about to be out of here. Like, no offense, but it's the truth. Like, everybody's gone. Ain't nobody escaping this life without dying. And they close. Like, they closer than everybody else. Like, they closer than most other people on the planet. And you got these people running the show. I understand you don't want somebody young as hell and inexperienced, but Jesus Christ.
When's the next debate?
I have no idea. And I probably won't watch it. I don't know. Or I'll watch it and put filters over it with my phone. That's what I did last night. That's the only way I can watch it.
What you mean?
So they all looked like they was crying. They were like, so that's all I can do. Like, I turn it into comedy, because if not, I'm gonna cry because of where this shit is at. But yeah, I don't like politics too much, but I think it's important to talk about it. Might be the only place somebody gets the information. So I don't know. We fucked. It's like, nah, oh no. But I can tell you what. The thing that stands out to me the most is the fact that all the shit Trump did, all the shit, that all the dumb shit, as stupid as he is, all that shit, and somebody that says, I'll vote for Trump. Right now, I'm like, well, I wouldn't, but I understand. Like, and that's being like there is hurtful. Like, being at that point is hurtful, because that's real. Like, I right now I'm like, oh well, I feel you. Like, I understand why. I mean, you got to look at the nuances to understand why it's not a great idea.
No, were there no other worthy candidates, or?
No, there were.
Yeah.
But I just think it's politics. Like, it's political shit. And that's just what it is. I just don't understand why they think it's a good idea to back him, Biden, the Democrats. We just need an overhaul of the system. Like, we need better than just two parties. I mean, we have more than two parties, but really we don't. So that's why I say that, because of the way the system is. It makes it almost impossible for an independent to win, because of the shit that the Democrats and Republicans do. They both do it. So
to turn to another battle.
Yes.
Now, recently the Kenan Friends pop-out concert happened.
Yep. The victory lap.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. That's not what it was called, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's how I took it. That's how I took it as. Like Rocky running with his hands up.
Oh yeah.
Like that's crazy. I didn't see, you saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't see, I saw some of it, but I didn't see it all, and the clips on social media, of course.
Yeah.
What you thought about?
Initially I went right to Kendrick's parts, but then yesterday I watched the whole thing, and it was good. It was interesting. And there were performances that stood out to me. There was one performance near the beginning in DJ Head's set. I forget the guy's name, but he went a cappella for a little while, and he had the crowd's energy up.
That's what's
and,
up.
He stood out. But other than that, Jason Martin, who I guess used to be known as Problem, his performance stood out to me.
I don't think I know who that is. I might have to check him out.
Yeah, but his performance stood out to me. And then I like Blast, which I think who may have came out during DJ Mustard's set. Blast, and Steve Lacy, and then Tyler the Creator just tore the roof off the place. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, his performance was crazy. I think he may have my favorite performance of the night.
True.
Like,
That's
period.
cool. Yeah, I like Tyler the Creator. I think I like seeing him live because he brings a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, the energy was crazy. Like,
It's crazy because I know early on when I first when I first heard him, like a long time ago when he first came out, I didn't really like him. I like Earl Sweatshirt. That was the only one I was filling out their crew because he can spit, but Tyler can spit too. I don't know if he's gotten better because I haven't followed his career, but I like his newer music. Like I even like the song singy kind of stuff that he does. Like I like that. But yeah, I definitely like seeing him perform live. Like he's and I can see why he's successful. Like some people say stuff like he's put in work. I've seen people say stuff, I guess, to the I'm not sure how to say it, to the point where he they say he don't deserve the success. I don't know where they get that from, but I've seen it. I've seen it a couple times. And I'm like, I don't understand that. Like he's not like the I can understand with some of the other, even though I try not to be disparaging of the newer artists, but I can understand with some of the other newer artists, and he's not really a newer artist.
No.
He's been around forever. But I think he's been around since he was like 16 or something, or 17. He's been putting out music. But yeah, like I was saying, some of the newer artists that I might not like and that might not be my taste, I kind of say that sometimes about, even though I don't really do it publicly because I try not to disparage anybody that's an artist. But he's definitely not one.
Right.
He definitely deserves his success because he works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he's maybe in the beginning he didn't, because he was into a lot of shit. Like they was doing a lot of extracurricular shit. And I think as he's gotten older, like he's matured a lot, even though he's not mature. Like if he still likes having wilding out and having fun, but I think he's matured a lot with probably business and work ethic. Put it that way.
Yeah, I was into him from the beginning, even though I wasn't deep into his albums. But he has gotten better. He has gotten better at rapping, at music, period.
Yeah.
And so now I enjoy his work more than earlier on. But he always seemed like a genius to me, like especially like them early videos, what you call his crew again?
Oh,
Odd Future.
Odd Future, yeah.
Them videos was like the way they put them together, how they made you feel,
Yeah, that's what I used to watch. Like I used to watch a lot of Earl Sweatshirt's videos, but they were always crazy to me. I always was like, yo, these dudes is crazy.
And to me, like that performance was like, yo, that these people know who he is. They know all his lyrics word for word. Like he built this.
Oh yeah. It's funny because he's big and people don't know it. Like it's like a quiet big, where if you're not into the music scene, like you might think he's not a giant artist because he might not get all that mainstream play. But festivals, he be selling out. Like people be coming to see him. And he, you can tell when he come out at different festivals how the crowd goes, and it probably is the same there. And so I know, even though I didn't see it, I know what you're talking about. Like I've seen it in the past.
And this made me want to go look at one of his shows. Like he had one recently. I think his festival, he had, I think it's called Camp Flognaw. I think that's what it's called.
It sounds right.
Made me want to check that out. But Kendrick did his thing. He started out with Euphoria. Like, after watching this for a while, like, I just have a bunch of Kendrick songs in my head, you know?
That's funny. Because I have Not Like Us in my head from when it first came out. Like, and I made it a point, well, I hear it all the time, but I made a point not to really listen to it because I've heard it so much and it's just stuck in my head. I'll be going to sleep like, I'm like, what the hell? I'll be like, and I just can't stop. Like it's just in my head.
I went initially to his set, his hour and a half set. So, I mean, I'm talking more about the earlier stuff now because recently I went and watched all of that beforehand. You know, his set was really good. I think my favorite thing he did was the Like That verse. Just the way he rapped it, how he was cutting off the last word of each line so he can catch the first word of the next line. But he rapped everything in that verse other than that. And I like when artists do that, when they actually rap their verses and it sounds good.
No backtracks, no none of that shit. Like that's thumbs down if you use a backtrack. Crazy.
And I mean, another highlight is when he brought out Schoolboy Q. Schoolboy Q. What's the other? J-Rock and Ab-Soul.
Oh, okay.
And
so he brought them out. That's what's up.
Yeah, it was a whole black hippie, like, you know.
Their crew is nice. They can spit. Because I Schoolboy Q, I just like the way, I like his style. I always liked his style. I like all of them though. All of them. But yeah, Schoolboy Q and well, J-Rock I like too. Like I liked a lot. But Ab-Soul is nice. He's nice, but I never got into him really. I don't know why. It's just something. I'm not sure why, I tell you the truth. I don't know if it's his cadence, but he's nice. He's nice though. I can recognize that objectively.
Yeah, and so up next is the video. So I'm waiting for Not Like Us. So I've seen some behind the scenes clips. So
he's making a video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's made already.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Man.
Yeah, so that's I'm interested in that.
That's gonna be dope.
Yeah. Yeah, that right now Euphoria is in my head because he started off with that one.
Oh, okay.
And
so did he have different artists? Was it like he didn't perform? No, the whole time?
No, he performed the whole time. Oh, but
I mean, I know he had features and stuff, but he had other artists performing their song.
No, well, actually, I think J-Rock performed some, but I think he performed a song called "Win Win Win," which was I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, Win was I played that shit every day at the gym for like 12 months. Like that was my beginning.
That's the first time I heard that song, but yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but I liked it.
Yeah, I played that song. That song came out in like maybe 2019. I don't know. It's old.
And who's that? J-Rock or?
Yeah, J-Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think Schoolboy Q performed some too. But also the other, besides that, Dr. Dre.
Yeah, I did see. I saw a little piece of Dr. Dre. Yeah,
that was good.
Because I saw the Game talking about he was upset because he didn't get an invite.
Well, I didn't see that.
No, I saw him talking about it on live.
I heard him on live, but what I got from it was he was upset that people were questioning why he wasn't there.
That too.
And from what I saw, he was saying, you know, he's taking care of his responsibilities at home and stuff like that. He said Drake is his brother, Kendrick is the homie,
But to me, it seemed like he was, I don't know. It seemed like he was trying to justify, like, because he didn't even get an invite. Like, it wasn't like he got invited and then it was like, nah, I can't. I gotta do this stuff. To me, it was like he was copping a plea. Like, oh, well, because everybody was questioning it. So it kind of got under his skin. That's how it seemed to me. I'm not saying that's how it was, but it seemed to me like everybody was questioning it under his pictures, which I hate when people do that. They always do that. Like, I mean, some people deserve it, but, you know, some people don't. And I don't know if Game was minding his business. I don't know if he would have said anything about it if people wasn't kept saying stuff under his pictures. But it felt like it got under his skin, so he was trying to like make excuses. Like, I ain't want to go anywhere. Like, you know, that's what it seemed like to me.
Okay.
But I mean, it is understandable. I mean, everybody's human. It's cool. But I wonder sometimes.
That's interesting that he wasn't invited.
But that's why.
But I mean,
that's why I'm saying that though, because I think everybody was questioning because they know his track record. They know how close he is with all of them, or he was. But I think he felt kind of weird because he's like, I'm the city. Like,
but not everybody was there. You can name a bunch of people that wasn't there.
I heard he had a bunch of rival gang members up there. Yeah, which that was cool.
Yeah,
and they were just all up there together. Yeah, and I mean, I know he's not the only one to have a truce, and he's not the. You know, I'm sure he wasn't. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm sure, but I know there's other people that was involved in the street to get a truce together. So I'm not trying to, like, some people was getting upset because they're like, oh, they're acting like Kendrick is the god and he brought, but it's still a big thing. Like, it's still a big thing. Like, how long does the truces usually last? I don't know. I'm not even gonna pretend to be any type of affiliation or know anything about gang culture like that, just other than what I know. Like, I do know some stuff, but yeah, I wonder how long, because they've had truces in the past that got fucked up. So I wonder how long this truce has been, and if I would like to know, like, if truly Kendrick was like, come on stage and they're like, okay, we here, and you know it's gonna be such and such Crips or Bloods or whatever gangs was up there. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any affiliation with that stuff, but yeah, I just wonder how much he orchestrated. But it's still dope. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter to me that much. I'm just interested. I'm just a nerd for that shit. Just to know, just wonder. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he said they had rehearsals and everything. So.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered about shows like that, and I think that's a mark of a good show too. When it seems like that show really seemed, or the pieces I've seen, I haven't seen the whole thing, but the pieces I've seen, it really seems like he was like, let's do a show today, and just went out there and was like, yo, you free? Can we? You want to do something? Like, all right, yeah, I'll be there. All right. Yo, you free? You want to do? That's what it seems to me. You know, I know it takes a lot to do a show, especially a show like that. So it's funny that you say I even think about them having rehearsals, but it's a damn show. Like, I'm sure they have rehearsals. Yeah. Like, you got to have rehearsals to pull all that off. Like, there's no way. I think that's one thing too that up and coming artists, independent artists can take. Like, it takes work. It's not just get on the mic, let's rap. Like, you might feel like you that good, but these are straight professionals, and they have rehearsals with gang members. Like, they probably was like, y'all gotta come rehearse, because we ain't gonna be having people just walking around wilding out. So that's a lesson to up and coming artists.
And even with rehearsals, what I realized is, because we've seen it, you know, several times with like big stars, that so he had a part where he messed up during Euphoria, and I realized that just happens.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, your brain, like, you're a human being.
Yeah,
that's just what it is. Jay-Z messed up on stage. Lil Wayne, I seen messed up. Like every artist messes up.
Mm-hmm.
But being a professional and being an artist, you can just roll with it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that from us performing, we always take it back to us. But from like us performing, I understand that now. Like and in the beginning, I didn't always understand that. Like there's been times when I messed up and it fucks me all up.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, but then as I started performing more, you just roll with it. Like you just yeah, and then you just try to get back on track, and you gotta let that shit go because people ain't gonna give a fuck really. And a lot of people, especially when you're up and coming, another up and coming lesson, these motherfuckers don't know your song, so you're the only person a lot of times know that you messed up if you say the wrong word.
Yeah,
like these people ain't listening to your music like that unless they are fans and have been listening and you've been performing for a while. And you've been selling a lot of shows, selling a lot of music. But if you are a brand new independent artist and you're trying to get out there and you mess up on stage, just keep going. Like you gotta keep going. You see these big stars, they do the same thing. It's just that the whole audience knows the damn lyrics. So so they know you messed up, but they don't care. They don't care. Like they're fans of yours.
I'm not even sure they knew because when he messed up and started saying a part in the song, they probably
thought it was part of the show. Like, like he done moved it. Yeah, he done moved the lyrics or something. Like because they're thinking, he's a professional. He's not gonna mess up.
Right.
But
they was singing along right with him. Because what happened? Well, I realized what happened. Because he has two parts where he says a similar thing. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk.
Yeah. That happens. It's your brain. Like you do that normal. People do that normal when they're talking. They'll say the opposite or the two different things that they meant to say in different, in a sentence. Like they'll switch words. Like it's just it's human.
Yeah, like you said though, like he caught it at a certain point when the beat switched up. He caught it.
Yeah, he got back on it,
and then he went into
he got back on it. And sometimes, if you got a good enough DJ, like they might even help you out. Like they might, switch it up or something and throw something on.
This just felt good. Like I noticed that in his performance and in Tyler's performance. Matter of fact, throughout the night, that crowd knew most of the people's lyrics and they were yelling them, and that just like felt good to hear.
I wonder how they got the crowd too. That's the other thing. Like, did they put out a Instagram post or did they? Because they didn't. It was like a surprise concert, right? They didn't sell tickets normally, the normal way, like advertising and all that stuff. They couldn't have because ain't nobody know about it. Ain't nobody know it was coming. Nobody knew that it was going to be a concert. I wonder how, because when you do that, that's great too. Like I've seen artists do a concert for their fans where they maybe posted it on their social network, and anybody that wants to come to this show, such and such, sometimes I'm sure it wasn't free, but sometimes it's a discounted show or whatever. We got tickets for such and such, so hit this up or hit this person up, or I don't know. I don't know how he did it, but it's probably something like that. So everybody there, is a fan. Like they knowing your music, and that just makes for a better show as well. You see that audience out there. I mean, it's better for the artist and better for the people watching the show, because it's something about a show that has the audience participation and involvement. Like that's all you want as an artist, and somebody watching that, it makes them enjoy it more too.
I believe a lot more people wanted to go than could fit in the place.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's crazy. Where was it at?
The Forum.
Oh, it was at the Forum. I saw Drake the other day.
You did? Where is that?
I saw him. He was downtown. Nah, but I saw him on social media. He was doing something. Damn, what was he doing? I forgot that quick because it was peculiar, and I wonder how. Like, it's got to feel awkward because every single person, it's kind of, I think it's worse than Jay-Z and Ether.
Yeah.
Like I think it's worse. So I kind of understand. I kind of understand. No, it was in Canada, I think, and they were playing Not Like Us.
Yeah,
and everybody was jamming.
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
that's gotta feel like shit though. I don't care. You're human. You're a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't care how successful you are, how much that shit gotta fuck with you. Like it's gotta eat you up a little bit. And knowing Drake, it probably eat him up a lot. You know, knowing how he wants to be perceived. Yeah, this battle is interesting. The fact that we're still talking about it in this climate. Let me put it that way, because back in the day we would still be talking about the battle. But in this short-lived climate where stuff just disappears quick, like we still talking about it, everybody's still talking about it, and it still seems to be just as much hype around it as it was when it was happening. So yeah, Kendrick did that.
I mean, yeah, he did, and I like how the legends have been coming out and saying like Drake shouldn't feel bad at all. Like he stepped up, everything he delivered.
Yeah, he participated.
Was solid.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's how I realized that myself. Everything he put out was solid. Like,
yeah, I say that too. Wasn't nothing terrible that he put out. Like he just got outmatched. Whether you might not even like. For me, I don't even think it was necessarily the music. He was outmatched with the music, but I don't think it was as far apart with the music. I think it was everything. Like just the strategic nature of it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what he got out Draked. Basically, because at least he has a reputation to be calculating like that. And Kendrick out calculated him, I believe. And I think that contributed. And I think the music too, but that contributed to how big and how much of a fall it was, I think.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, and the story, and the stuff Kendrick used and said. Yeah. And then there was online stuff that kind of went along with what he was saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, all of that, the narrative, everything. Like he
That's what Pusha T did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was strategic. But also, with Kendrick, the rapping was there. It just wasn't the only part of it. The song quality and the rapping was there.
Yeah, definitely was there.
And then that
slouch.
I think this a strategic move, not to go over this for the millionth time, the billionth time, but was like that Friday. Was it Friday night?
Yeah.
Where
it was a Friday night we recorded.
Family Matters dropped, and then
because I was up all night, like listening, and when the other one dropped, and then I was like, oh shit, it's another one. Because I remember I was texting you. Yeah, I was like, you dropped another one. That all that, just the way all that played out, like all that played into his win. But like you said, I don't think Drake. It's a lot of Drake haters too. For one. That just hate him just to hate him, I think. And not that he ain't lose. I'm just saying it's a lot of people that just wanted him to lose and like he lost from the beginning with them people.
Oh no.
But he also didn't win. Like he also lost.
Right. I didn't have a definite winner to me until Meet the Grams. When Meet the Grams dropped, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that was your stance before that came out. I think when we talked about it before that Friday, like that was your stance. Like you didn't really have a definite winner.
Yeah.
But then when all those songs dropped, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy that we still talking about this battle.
I mean, the next thing is what Drake will do. How will Drake come back?
Yeah, it's come back because he's coming back. It ain't like his career is over. Like I think he's too big of an artist Like this might have ended somebody else's career for real. To be 100%. I just think he's too big of an artist for his career to be ended. He's gonna feel it because whenever he does his show, whenever there's gonna be some hecklers, I'm sure. There's gonna be some people that's gonna remind him.
What if we just get some like great music out of this from him?
It'll just be great music, but it's still gonna be people still gonna remind him. Oh, this song was great, but you still lost, bitch. Like that's what's gonna happen.
I don't know, but I mean, I don't think people really did that to Jay-Z. Like,
no, they did.
It was different because
but it was different
because even at that time, he was still putting out music. I think the Blueprint 2,
yeah, Blueprint 2 came out.
Yeah, and it was still fire. Like,
yeah. It was good, but with that, it wasn't as good as like I did know a lot of people said it should have been called a Blueprint 2 because it wasn't on the level of the Blueprint.
Well, it was still fire on there.
It had songs that was fire.
Yeah.
There were some songs I didn't like on there, so it wasn't as classic as Blueprint.
Yeah,
but it had fire on there, and I did like it. Like, I liked it. That's one of the only, not to cut you off, but that's one of the only albums I don't have. Like I got all I still use MP3s, which that's another point. It's hard to find MP3s. I'm not even trying to steal them. Like I'm not even trying to download them for free. I'll pay for them and I can't find them. It's pissing me off because I don't like Bluetooth. I don't like streaming music. It's not good quality. And I have a stick, like, what is it? 60 gigabyte with nothing but music on it. It's full right now. But MP3s, that's all I got on there. Because I put it in my car and I play all my music. So I got like mad albums. I got all the Jay-Z's albums, all the Nas albums, but the Blueprint 2 is the only album I don't have on there. And I can't find it. So I might look for that after the pod. That was a little I went off. I went off on that because I was looking for Dave. I was looking for his new album, 2021 album. I can't find it as an MP3. I play it on YouTube, but I don't like streaming. I don't like streaming, but that's the only way I can listen to it is if I play it through YouTube Music or any other DSP.
And I don't know if I've said this before. Hopefully I haven't said this before in another pod, but Super Ugly, I revisited Super Ugly recently, and it's not bad. For some reason, I thought it was originally. But maybe...
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought you thought
for some reason, I didn't like it originally.
No, it's not terrible. I don't think it was up to par. It was just that one line. Like,
okay.
Like the one line was shocking and didn't nobody know, really.
Yeah.
They just knew in Takeover when he was like, you know what? I did the you know who. Let's keep that between me and you. People ain't know he was talking about that. But, Nas did.
Yeah, it wasn't up to par to Ether.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just, the condoms on your baby seat. That was just like shocking and disrespectful. So it's like, oh, shit. But the song wasn't.
You know how you hear
crazy.
You ever remember lyrics differently?
Yeah.
Like, for some reason...
People's memory remembers shit different. Like, even stuff that's happened to you when you was little, you think you're remembering right, you're not. Most likely, you're not remembering it right.
Yeah.
Like, you pick and choose bits and pieces, especially stuff that's traumatic. You remember traumatic parts. You don't remember, a lot of times, you don't remember, like, it might have not been as traumatic as you thought it was. Like, a lot of people sensationalize stuff that's happened. But yeah, I don't want to go out off on a tangent, but you know how I do.
Yeah.
I could. But yeah, you do remember stuff different. You remember lyrics different?
Because all these years, I thought he said skeeted on your baby seat.
Oh, shit. I would have been pissed. That's even worse. Like,
and then I listened to it like, oh, he didn't say that.
Oh, damn. That's wild. I would have been like, what the fuck? We got to fight. Like, we got to fight. Like, I only want them to. I mean, it's bad enough condom and my baby is in the same sentence, but I only want those two things in the same sentence. Like, you can't even say that. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. But
Yeah, we would have had to fight.
since we in talking about music, any new music you're interested in or listening to?
I have not heard. I'm still listening to Ray.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about her last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still listening to her. I still like everything I hear from her.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope she's not going down the route. I know it's some of it's entertainment sometimes, but like she sounds like she talk real shit. And you know, it's been artists that talk real shit, and people was like, "Oh, it's entertainment." No, they going through this shit, and they're telling you right now, like Kurt Cobain and shit like that, and Amy Winehouse. Like that's who she reminds me of, Amy Winehouse. Not just because of the way she sounds. She's from the UK or London, so she's gonna have that accent. But she just the singing. And I'm not trying to compare her to Amy Winehouse. I'm sure she probably tired of it. She's probably thankful that people think of that, but she's trying to make her own lane. However, some of the stuff she talks about, like the drugs she talks about and things like that, I just hope she's not on that path.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm hoping she's maybe went through some shit and write songs about it and got it under control though. So let's hope that. But yeah, but that's it. I have not heard anything new, and know it's crazy. I'm starting to get tired of the old shit that I've been listening to.
Oh yeah,
like I rode the other day with no music.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had my radio off, and I do that every now and then, but it's usually just so I can kind of get my meditation on, get my thoughts together. But this particular day, I did it because I was tired of listening to what I had to listen to, all the stuff I had. I'm like, ain't no new shit. I ain't got no new shit.
You gotta make it. You gotta make it.
I don't know.
Some new influence.
Yeah, I need to finish that one song I've been trying to finish for years.
But I like I was telling you before, this Kendrick show, I did a little save to watch later on several artists on there that I enjoyed, like Jason Martin. He got a song called Like What that I want to hear again that he performed at the show. And you know, revisit some maybe some Tyler the Creator. But I've been into his music, but I'm kind of interested in hearing Marsha Ambrosius. She corrected someone on her name, Marsha Ambrosius.
I don't think I ever known that.
Yeah,
I always say Ambrosius.
Yeah, but yeah, she got an album called Casablanca.
So she doing like Denzel. She just let people say her name wrong until you said she corrected it now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Denzel's name is Denzel.
Is it?
When I found that out, I was wild. Yeah, he said his mom name is Denzel.
It's Denzel.
And his mom calls him Denzel. And he's like, that's my name. It's Denzel. He said, but people didn't know how to pronounce Washington. It. So they said Denzel.
So
Washington. They had it. And he's like, I just kept it. I didn't correct anybody. He's like, but everybody's saying my name wrong. He said that his mom reminds him of that. Like
Denzel Washington.
Denzel.
It still sounds like, if you say it, it's
Denzel.
You said Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
It still sounds cool.
It still sounds like
don't sound
the same
terrible.
if you say it fast enough.
Not to me, because you gotta
Denzel Washington.
You gotta
Denzel
Washington. Zul and Zell ain't the same.
Yeah, so Denzel Washington.
Yeah, but I'm interested in Marsha's new album.
Yeah, Casablanca. She worked with Dr. Dre on the whole album. So I recently seen an interview with her in it, and
yeah, she's talented.
Got my attention.
I used to play Draw with Friends with her all the time. Play Draw with Friends, where you draw shit and they got a guess.
I've seen it.
And it has a thing. Yeah, I used to play that with her all the time, and she was a very good artist. Like we used to play like every day. That shit was crazy. and it was her for real.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I think one day she posted on Instagram, and she's like, I need new people to play with for drawing friends. And like, you can play forever. If you were playing with somebody, like you draw, they guess. If they get it, they get the points. Then it's their turn to draw, and then you got to guess, get the points. You can just keep saying play again, like with the same person. So you can just go back and forth forever. And we used to play every day for like a while, or every other day. Like some days she wouldn't be on, and then she'll come on later, like a couple days later. I guess she was busy, probably doing music or whatever. But yeah, but she was really cool because you had to chat. She would chat. Like it was dope. It was dope because she was really down to earth. You know, and I know that's a level of kind of a bubble. So she probably felt more comfortable, like in that. It's like a game. But yeah, that was cool. I always liked her music though. Floetry, I always had their albums. I always listened to all her music. You was telling me that Butterflies, she said she wrote that song and produced it, right? Or just wrote it?
I'm not sure.
But she got like 70% of that from Michael Jackson. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's
nuts.
Yeah,
and she said she was good.
Yeah, she was good off that one song for a long time.
Yeah. Like, and I told you she probably still making money off that song. Like Mariah and her Christmas songs.
Childish Gambino got a new album, which is the soundtrack to a new movie he has coming out called Bando Stone in the New World, I think it's called. And I just saw the preview on my phone, and it looks good. It looks good.
Bando Stone, in the New World.
Yeah,
sounds wild.
So that is good. Like to get an album and a movie from him at the same time. That's fire.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm sure. I wonder who produced the movie. Did he say?
I didn't see all of that. I don't know all of that.
Oh, okay. You didn't see no preview or anything.
No, I just saw the preview.
Oh, okay.
Because somebody was in the, you know how.
Oh, they filmed it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In the movie theater?
Yeah. So I watched that. Hopefully he has a lot to do with the behind the scenes, because I like when he creates his own movies and projects and shows, because that's when he really shines to me in his own stuff.
Yeah, true.
When I've seen him in other stuff, you know, it wasn't as good to me seeing him in like The Lion King or the Star Wars movie than in his own stuff. He really stands out to me in his own stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like Atlanta and, you know, all this other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the Derek comedy. I don't even know if you went that far back when he used to do videos. I guess it was a group, and they used to do videos on YouTube, and that stuff is really good.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
Yeah,
yeah, but I like him. A lot of people, you know, well, not a lot of people, but some people, they don't like him. They don't like Atlanta. They didn't like some of the last season. They said it's too weird, but I like it. I like him. I like the stuff he comes up with. And
me too.
Yeah, I just think it's cool. Back in business.
Can superpowers be neutralized? I can only watch in silence. Because last part we talked a good amount about aliens and, you know, that we don't believe or disbelieve. You know, we need proof, right? And so it made me think that someone, a whistleblower who worked with the government, he was seemingly alluding to the existence of aliens, right? That he knew about, right? But
yeah,
when I actually went back and watched clips of him talking, to me, he really didn't say anything.
Yeah, and I know what video you're talking about, and he didn't. He didn't say anything.
Yeah,
and that's because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, the government just confirmed that there's aliens," and everybody just skipped over and don't care. They didn't though.
Right.
They didn't because he had nothing to do with it. They just invited him to Capitol Hill to testify about it. It's something they were looking into.
And they asked him direct questions, and he kept saying, "Oh, well, I really can't talk about that in this environment."
Yeah, why are you here then?
Right.
Like, why are you here? This is the environment that you talk about it. Like, this is why we got you here.
Yeah.
To talk about it.
It was like, did you see the spacecraft? Well, they didn't really let me see. Did you see the aliens? No, I didn't really see the aliens. Like,
yeah, wild. It's just like the aliens the alien bodies. I forget where that was, but I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about like they invited him to see him and he declined because he's like,
oh, the ones in was it Mexico?
Yeah, I think it's in Mexico. Yeah, and he's like, nah,
he didn't
like,
believe.
Nah,
he didn't believe it was real.
He says, send me the DNA, analyzation or whatever, and I will come. And then we can talk.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Crickets. Because it's some bullshit. Like some made up dolls or something that they done put together or done carved it out of wood so it was organic material. Like some dumb shit.
And I wish so the whistleblower kept saying biologics and non-human. And my brain wants something more specific because if you keep saying non-human, I'm like, okay, so we talking about animals?
Yeah, is it a monkey?
Yeah.
Did you find a monkey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to revisit that because even though that took place, still my stance is I don't believe or disbelieve. Like I need to see it. I need proof. Like
yeah.
Even though somebody who worked in the government is saying something that's alluding to that, not even without saying it.
And that's where I go with my point. But last week, like just because you're a government official, you might have access to more stuff, but that don't make you more credible to me. Like I work for the government, so I know there's people that ain't credible in working. So it's just like anywhere else. There's people that's not credible working. It's crazy. But there's so much put on it. Like, oh, he's a ranking whatever. Like he might not be a ranking whatever. He might just be a soldier or a lieutenant or whatever. I don't know the rankings, but he might not be that high up. But people see stuff and they don't know from the outside in, and he looks more important than he is. I don't know. But like you said, I don't know. So that's just it. I don't know.
It started with people saying, Happy Juneteenth, right? And my brother saying, enjoy your freedom. And I'm like, this is conflicting to me. Like, I feel like I don't know if I can be happy about the history that took place, about the freedom that was restored, that was taken. Like it's a touchy to me, Yeah,
I feel you. I feel that.
And then like
I mean it is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with but you gotta focus on what it is. Like it is happy. You know what I mean? It's not a happy reason for it being restored, but it was restored. So that's the happy part. Like it's
then okay. And the history that followed. And even then like what? And then like it's like from what I've heard, this was 2 years after this law was made. So people were still enslaved like illegally. I don't get a happy feeling from it. I can't attest to what they felt in the moment. Maybe it was happiness. Like but
yeah, I'm sure it was.
But it's like for lack of a better way of expressing this, it's like for something that should have never taken place.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you can say that about anything. Like anything that happens like that, like, you know, it shouldn't have taken place. I mean, the end of wars, the end, all that stuff is celebrated. But, you know, the war is terrible.
Right.
Like what happened up until then is terrible.
Yeah.
But you're not celebrating that. You're celebrating what's good about what it is.
Right.
Especially now, like you're recognizing it for what it is and celebrating, you know, what's good about it, about the situation. Because I mean, you can always say, you know, well, we still ain't free. Like we still shit still going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can always say that, which would be true, but you know, is that what you want to concentrate on during that time, or?
Right.
That's all.
I mean, and I'm grateful for the position that I'm in at this moment in time. I just was thinking about, like, what don't I like about being black, right? And what came to me is there's a word, there's slurs that people say and that we say we got from people saying it to us. You know what I mean? Like, for lack of a better way of expressing it, like feeling like or being a second-class citizen or a minority, you know, like hearing all of these racist stories of things that happen, you know, like wanting maybe to instead look to greatness that I came from, you know, wanting to look to kings and queens and powerful ancestors instead, you know, just thinking about things and then like just thinking that, then thinking to the point of I've heard that there were kingdoms in Africa, but they were taken over. I guess wanting to have a different outlook. I don't know. Or maybe just coming to these realizations, because I don't know if I ever thought this way before.
I mean, I think that's a good thing. To come to realizations and have extra thoughts.
Because
I mean, that means you're growing.
Yeah. Like the N-word. It's used so much. It's like a regular thing. Like, but I was watching like one of my favorite YouTubers, or YouTubers on Monkey, on the app Monk, or I guess it's a website where you talk to strangers, and realizing that racism is not dead.
Nah.
Did kids get on there and say the N-word, you effing N-word?
Yeah, because it's taught. It's never going to die because it's just carried on. It's taught from generation to generation. Now, I do think that they won't have as much leeway as the future goes on and on. And I think that's one of the reasons why to tell you the truth, I think that's one of the reasons why it is so prevalent now, because it always happens like that. As shit is disappearing or getting flushed out or getting pushed down, people fight back more.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why we do see a lot of it now. Not only that is because of the cameras and everything's recorded, but I think people are fighting. Like people who are that way are fighting so hard because they know they're a dying breed.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna, and there's always gonna be outliers, but I just think they're a dying breed. Like there's more minorities. I mean, really, you wanna say like they're gonna be the minority,
mm-hmm.
like soon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I say soon, but maybe not in my lifetime. But it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the way the nature of the world and the way it's going. which is one of the reasons they've been fighting it for years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hundreds of years, because they don't want this to happen. That's happening now. And I think this is the Enlightenment age. And we're going through the growing pains that we're going through, that you have to go through when you're growing as a society.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I just, and maybe it's my optimism.
Yeah.
I'm more optimistic than a lot of people. I do look at the real. Like I teeter between realism and optimism. I'm definitely not pessimistic at all. Like I definitely do not concentrate on the negative, even though you shouldn't try to avoid the negative, because that's not going to work. Like you got to experience all that, everything in life. You need to experience the negative and the positive. You can't have positive without negative. But I'm definitely more realist, optimistic than a lot of people. But yeah, go ahead.
In saying that, like grabbing onto the good, maybe that's a good thing, because also like when I'm out and about, when I'm going to different truck stops, I don't want to. I guess I do read into it, and I don't know if I should or not. But you know what we call white people open the door for me. They'll hold the door for me. They'll let me go first, and I accept. You know, I heard something a while ago that, you know, of course, within reason, if somebody's trying to do something nice for you, then accept. You know, so there's that side. Like there are people who, I guess that's the reason why things changed. There are people that don't like the way things were, that feel bad about how things were, that want better, that want peace, that want love, you know. That there are people who feel maybe how I feel about racism, about not how I feel, but feel about racism how I feel about people mistreating gay people. And so if I see a gay person, which, you know, it's interesting that I say that, because basically I'm a gay person, you know. I still look at women, but that's not what I'm doing sexually, you know what I mean?
True.
So, but when I see somebody like, because you know the reason the separation is because I didn't grow up gay.
Yeah, true.
And I didn't experience the negative stuff that an outwardly gay person, like that you can tell they gay, experiences.
The same. I talk about that. Like that's kind of the same thing as with colorism. Like, you know, I'm not going to experience the same racism, even though I've experienced a lot of racism. I'm not going to experience it the same way as a darker person. I just not, because everybody looks at colorism, not just white people, but black people do. Like whether it's just the ingrained system or whatever it is, it's out there and it's real. Like it's a real thing. So I feel what you're saying. Like outward, you know, you're not going to experience the same. You're not going to have the same prejudices against you. You're not going to have the people, because they don't know.
Right.
Like they're looking at an outside package. And that's just it.
And on top of that, I benefit from being gay in this time. Like,
yeah, where it's more acceptable.
It's more acceptable. There's apps. It make it easy to meet people. To get back to the racism talk, I think it's important to remember everybody's not like that. In these times, for me, every white person that we call white is not like that. You know, it's important to remember that.
But I also think it's important to know that every person is a part of this system. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, this system is racist. So I think a lot of white people that feel like they're not racist, they're still a part of the system and they still benefit from that. So if you're not anti-racist, you know, you're not doing enough. Like if you're not anti,
Mhm.
like I know a lot of white people that are like, oh, I'm not racist, and I believe them.
Mhm.
Like, and I've, I see white people that aren't. I talk to people at work that I don't think they're racist,
Mhm.
but they're still benefiting from a system that is.
Mhm.
And thankfully, I work with people that are anti. Like I've worked with people that I follow, and I see them say stuff. I see them champion or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. But I see them speak out on things. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be an activist or anything, but there's a lot of people that stay quiet in times of when you shouldn't be quiet, and I think that's almost just as bad as being that. Like staying quiet and not saying anything about it, because really it's white people's fight. Like it ain't our fight. Like we shouldn't be doing this. Like we shouldn't be fighting this. Like white people should be fighting other white people. The white people that feel like it's wrong should be going against the other people. Like it's not our job to educate people that are ignorant.
But I do think that I hear what you're saying, but I do think at the same time it is. Because here's why I say that. Or educate, but just to project, or just to, I don't know, maybe project the right, or just to, educate in a way, or just by being, or just by.
But I say that, I don't know, because I don't know. You start to get in like respectability politics and all that stuff, and that's a negative. Like when people say, "Oh, this is bad for the race," like this, that's when you start getting into respectability politics, because it shouldn't matter,
Right?
However, everybody's culture is different. So if you got somebody with locks and maybe not clean cut in the face, and they're working a job, and you'll have people see even the dress codes and stuff at jobs are respectability politics, because they feel like they come from a certain type of way. Like there was a lot of jobs where you needed to be clean shaven. Because a lot of black people wore beards, a lot of black people wore their hair longer. Like white people wore their hair longer too, but it was different. So it was a different thing. Like you couldn't have locks, couldn't have braids, because that looked unprofessional. That's what they would say, and that's respectability politics when I say that. But
I think what I'm trying to say is that the action, putting in the action to make things better, that black people should do. The reason I say that is because at one point in time, I felt like that, okay, I want to be like a big ally to trans women, which I wanted to do so much, right? I was rapping, right? And I had this song, and I wanted to kind of become famous and show love to trans women throughout, and hoping through my music and such that it would help change the minds or help free people that actually are attracted, men who actually are attracted to trans women who are closeted, right? But then, I'm a flawed human, and so I see where I failed. I see trans women themselves stepping up and representing themselves, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because I am actually not a trans woman, and I don't know
you can't do that.
The experience, So that's why I say that. Like the actual group still needs to work.
But the thing is, we've been doing it for 450 years. That's why I say it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not our responsibility any longer. It shouldn't be.
It does take allies.
It shouldn't be. Like we've like we shouldn't have to explain why it's not a good thing.
Right.
Right. Like certain things.
No, I agree with that.
Like it just shouldn't fall on our shoulders to have to do that. And it does a lot. Like to keep over and over and over explaining and showing examples and showing shit. Like it's over. It's done. Like I'm not me personally, that's not my fight no more. Like you either gonna respect me or it's gonna be a problem. So that's just what it is. I mean, I'm gonna teach somebody at the moment if something go down, but I'm not gonna champion and activists and all that. I just I don't got it no more. But I understand why people do and feel that way. But I just think it falls on other people more than it should fall on us.
This is a world thing because I'm thinking like, okay, well, if I went over to Africa, maybe I would feel better around people. But this racism takes place in Africa. Matter of fact, like, I mean, maybe it's where a lot of stuff started at. Like, far as like colonization and
I mean, you had colonization, you had
apartheid, right?
Apartheid, yeah, in South Africa. Like it's a complicated thing because it's old. It's an old thing. It's old. When I say old, I don't mean like 400 or 500 years old. I mean, like you said, when they came and conquered, like once basically Black people civilized the world and then they turned around and conquered them once they got weapons. And that was the main thing. Like once they had guns, basically, like that's when it was on.
It's about outlook because I am here. And, at times I've been like, there was times where I wasn't thinking like this, where I felt good being an American. Like, and I'm blessed. I know I'm blessed to be in this country and to have the
two things can happen at once.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I don't think people understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always hear people say that, oh, you're blessed. Why you complaining? I know I'm blessed.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm blessed. I know, like I said, I think last week I said it, how people want to be, oh, you don't like America, leave.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, maybe I don't want to leave. Maybe I do. Maybe there's a lot of people that do want to leave and say it's better where they go. But maybe I want it better here. Like what? That's a dumbass statement to make, to tell somebody to leave. Like it's stupid as hell. You're a dumbass person if you tell somebody that is complaining about the way America is to leave. Like you're stupid. You're fucking dumb. I'll say it to your face. So like you're all right. And a lot of times that's coming from a place of privilege too, because they're not experiencing that. The people that say that, a lot of the people that say that aren't experiencing, and it could be, it's a lot of white people, but it could be Black people too that are in a bubble. Like I grew up with people that were in a bubble and didn't really see it. And some of that is because they were around nothing but Black people. So like that's a strange thing too. Like that's a strange thing that happens in our community. Like there are people, and people don't understand that, there are people that grow up thinking racism isn't a thing because they've never experienced it, because they haven't been off their block, like, or been around racist people. And until that happens, then it switches. They're kind of, when they see it overtly, and it's kind of like, damn, this shit does exist. Like that's, and I don't know, I might have been there at one time, but I got it early. So, I mean, I got lessons early too, but I experienced it early. So it kind of, made me see the world a little different.
I think that's a little bit of what I'm going through now. Like, and I think it's like me, it's just me seeing the negative and then like my response to it. Like seeing that on these websites in this day and age, like, it's like, but then like, I just have to think about the positive, and it makes me want to, I actually thought about like doing some ancestry and like you know, doing some ancestry and finding out things and, you know, having a more sense of self. And like, because
I mean, I think it's always good to have a sense of self.
The N-word conversation, I can kind of see both sides. On the one hand, it started to seem to me like, yo, we really using this word that's negatively and still negatively said and put on us, and all these other slurs. Well, we're not using the other ones, but that one, we kind of like using it. And I don't really use it. I think that's just because coming up, my immediate family didn't say it for whatever reason. But also I can see how using it is kind of like you kind of preparing yourself, where you kind of, I don't know if you're taking the sting out of it, or you kind of.
I don't think you're taking the sting out of it. I think you're just commandeering it, which is what it happened. Like, we commandeered it and kind of use it as a term endearment instead of a negative. But I don't think it takes the sting out of it, because I think somebody could, you know, somebody that you know is using it in a certain way, uses it, it's still gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, because
like my boy could call me that, you know, 2 seconds ago, but if somebody else did that, I knew, you know, intention. I knew their intention. Like, that's just, I don't think it takes the sting out of it.
I guess it's how you thinking, because it's like, on the one hand, I could be like, yo, I don't like that. Like, we're using this that was used towards us negatively. We're taking. I
mean, I got a lot of friends that are like that too.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, you know, they be like, don't call me that.
And I think for a lot, like, yeah. Like, I think maybe for a long time, I haven't been thinking about it, because it's just a part of pop culture.
Yeah. I don't really think about it that much. But I can say I feel weird, like, playing music.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. Like, around white people.
But that's
certain white people.
But
like,
that's the thing.
Certain white people.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because, you know, white people be playing it and they don't care. Like, they just be playing it.
And I'm like, now I recently was thinking, why do I feel weird when they came up with it? Like, you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
But it's like not.
But it's certain.
It's
certain
complicated.
People to me.
Yeah, it's complicated because not they as a whole didn't come up with it. Like,
yeah. Like, I watched dude, the comedian I like, and he was talking about Juneteenth, and he was talking about it.
Josh Johnson.
Yeah. I was trying to think of his name. I don't know why I forgot it, but I was about to say John Johnson, but yeah, he was talking about it, and like, the room got all quiet, and he's like, "Come on, y'all." He said, "Everybody I'm talking about is fucking dead." He's like, "Don't do this to me." He's like, "Don't do this to me," because he was talking about like Juneteenth and slavery. He's like, "Well, how was that conversation between the master and the slave? Like, when they found out they was free?" And he's like, "What you do after that?" And it was hilarious, but it was funny how the room gets, and that's how it gets. That's how it is when you talk about this stuff. But it shouldn't be that way. You should talk about it. Like, you gotta talk about it, and a lot of it be the privilege and the, you know, like the white guilt. But that's on you. You know, like that's on you. If you're feeling guilty, won't you go figure out why you're feeling that way? I
mean, is it just that?
Like, I'm not saying you should feel guilty. Like, a lot of people feel like, a lot of people that are like against, or say the people that are making, which they're damn near racist anyway, the people that are trying to CRT and take all that and take the shit out of the books in school, like in Florida, what they're doing, because they don't want people to feel bad. Like, that's weird as hell. And that's just extra layer of racism. Like, this is history. This is what happened. And you should learn it. And if you feel bad, maybe you should feel bad. Not saying you should feel bad to the point where you feel like you did it. But if that's something that you're feeling, won't you acknowledge that, for one, and use that and research and do your own research. You should be learning this shit. You should be going and seeking it and learning it. But I just think, they rather just not hear about it. Like, oh, why you always talking about that? Like, that's part of the biggest history. That's part of the biggest. I'm trying to think of the word. That's a big ass part of history. Like, you're just not going to learn about it. But everything else is fine to learn about. Like all the other negative shit that they push and use as patriotism and all that stuff. Like, that's, this is American history. Like, this ain't Black history.
Right.
It's American history.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it's probably one of the hugest parts of American history. So you just want to wipe all that out and not talk about it. Like, oh, we're past that. We're not.
So that
That's
makes
the
me
reason
think,
we're
like,
not past
that
it.
makes me think, what history have we been taught that wasn't really like we've been taught it?
A
You know
lot.
what I mean?
A lot. It's a lot. And like, if you would have told me the information age would be this gullible, we would be this stupid right now, it's crazy. But if you research, it's a lot of stuff you were told wrong. It's funny because TikTok, that's another reason I think they want to get rid of TikTok, because TikTok people be on there teaching, and you got your people in the comments, of course, the commenters, the crazies, but you got a lot of people that I can see in there, and they're like, man, I ain't never noticed. Like, we ain't get taught this in school, and it's about a lot of subjects, because it's a lot of stuff they don't teach. Not just Black history, Black American history. Like, it's a bunch of stuff that they haven't taught right, that we don't even know. That's why you gotta do your own research. I mean, look at like I said, look at Florida, the way they're banning books and taking stuff out the curriculum. Like, that's insane to me. They're just basically in plain sight trying to hide shit. You're not gonna, where kids are not gonna learn this because it's gonna make them feel uncomfortable. But you putting the 10 Commandments in school, like, it's always a storm before shit clears. And I think we're in the storm. Because in another 40, 50 years, maybe, this world's going to look a lot different. And it's going to be a lot different. And I don't think it's going to be for the worse. I think we'll come out of it enlightened. Now, like I said, I don't know if it'd be in my lifetime. So, gives me hope. I feel like there's hope. I think people see negative, and they feel like there's no hope. And they feel like shit is worse than it's ever been. I don't believe that. I just believe the worst shit is more visible than it's ever been. That's what I believe. I mean, I believe shit has always been, certain things has always been, and we just haven't seen it. But I definitely think it's the majority or the minority getting the news, like the negative minority getting all the press. I definitely think that's what is going on now. Cause that's what sells. Everybody's after the story that's gonna make the most clicks, gonna earn them the most money. So whatever's negative, that's what it is. So when you hear something negative, it's negative. Just negative. Blast it all over.
When you talked about, like, being silent is bad, right? So I think for me and I think maybe other people too, there comes a point where you gotta choose where things at a certain point you was cool until it came to a certain point. Like, for me, I was in love with this one trans woman I used to see, and I felt good with her. I felt God with her. Like, I felt like God was with me, I didn't feel bad about our interaction. So it came a point where I had to, for me, I had to make a decision whether I was, and to me, I chose to be on the side of love in my eyes rather than Christianity, or like go by what the Bible says. If the Bible says homosexuality is an abomination, like, or or promotes negativity towards gay people, I ain't with that.
Yeah, true.
But then
But you can see, somebody that's not gay, I feel the same way.
Mhm.
Like, and that's what I mean. Like, when you need allies, like, I feel the same way. Like, I have no type of negative feelings for that. And for one, it's funny because I've never, like, even growing up, I mean, my uncle was gay, so maybe that's why. Maybe they were extra sensitive about that stuff and not being negative. I didn't know he was gay. Like, I didn't know until he passed away. But I just didn't see it because I didn't look at stuff like that. Like, he lived with his boyfriend, and growing up, I didn't know. Like, I just thought they were roommates. Like, I didn't put two and two together because I wasn't looking at it like that. And that's just, and they didn't make a big deal like that. But thinking back, like, I could see, like, in my brain, thinking back to different memories and how they interacted, I'm like, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. So, you know what I mean? Like, that makes perfect sense. But that just wasn't what it was. Like, his boyfriend was a great person, and he was white, and he was a great person, gave the best gifts. Like, shout out to David. But yeah, he always treated us like family, even after they weren't together anymore. And my uncle was great. Like, he was a great uncle. He gave great gifts too, and it's just, and that's not the only reason. I'm being facetious when I say that. Like, but as a kid, you see that stuff. Right. But that's not the only reason he was great. Like, they were just good people, and but I just never got the ill will. Like, my mom was heavy in the church, but she's never subscribed to that. Like and maybe because her brother was gay. And who knows? Maybe she would have had a different outlook on stuff if he wasn't. But it was what it was. But I never, I bring up that point because that's how I feel like white people should be. Like, and I know posting is posting, but there's gay issues, I post about it. If there's it's just
like the little stuff
what
matters.
It is.
Like, even conversations you have in day to day that they're not televised or whatever, but you have a conversation. If you speak up for how you really feel, I think that matters. Instead of staying silent.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing. Like, when you benefit from certain things, it's just like with women. I speak up a lot with women's issues. Even though I benefit as a man from everything that is negative in that, that keeps men in power, that keeps men above women. Like, I benefit from all that. Even if I'm not trying to benefit from it, I do. But I recognize that, and I try to speak out on it, and I try to say, whatever I can, because I don't think it's right. You just gotta be a good person, and not be silent either. Like Martin Luther King said, I don't know the exact quote, but it's one of my favorite quotes, and I don't know the exact quote right now. Quote was, "Our lives begin and end the day we become silent about things that matter," which is one of my favorite quotes from MLK, because I think it's the truth. Like, as I see it a lot where people just don't want to say anything because they're like, oh, I don't want to make no waves. I don't want to say nothing about this. I don't want my coworkers to think something about me. But fuck that. Like, it becomes a point where it's like, fuck that. Like, that's the point. Like, that's the point.
I remember since we talking about racism, I worked, I don't know if I should say a name, but I worked at a place. I may cut it out. I worked at a place, and like, I was maybe a little naive or whatever, or maybe thinking the best in people. And there was a guy that worked there, a white guy, and he was just a worker. He might have just worked he either just worked inside. I think he might have just worked inside, or he was a driver. I forget. But there was a manager. There was a general manager. She was a white woman. what we call white. I don't really like use the term white, but that's what people know.
Yeah.
But she was a young white woman, and she was lesbian, and that's important to the later in the story. But this guy, he seemed cool, and then like one time the manager hired a new driver, and the driver started walking in, and he was a black guy, and this guy said something like, What the F? Like, he's black, right?
That's wild.
And something like that, right? In my mind, I'm thinking, maybe because this is what I've been experiencing. I was watching a lot of Family Guy at this time, and it seemed like something from that somebody in Family Guy would say.
It probably is something somebody in Family Guy would say.
And I was like,
but
in my mind,
serious.
I'm thinking, this guy has been watching too much Family Guy. This is what I'm thinking.
Oh, shit.
So anyway, I just leave. I do my delivery, whatever like that. Me and the manager talking later, and she's like trying to find an assistant manager. And I think I say something about this guy, because every other instance besides that, he seemed like a good guy. Right?
That's the worst.
And I was like, yeah,
you find out somebody's a piece of shit.
And maybe this is naive. It don't sound good of me to. It sounds not smart of me to have to say this. But I was like, well, what about this guy? And he seems pretty good. And she was like, he's horrible. Like she saw something I didn't see.
Oh, okay.
Clearly.
Oh, you talking about a guy that said, "Oh, he's black"?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and the part of when I said she's a lesbian, her girlfriend or wife, whatever at the time, was black.
Oh, okay.
So that was a person at the time speaking up for what they feel, and an important ally.
Yeah.
That was stopping something, or that wasn't allowing something to go through that she saw, that wasn't good.
Mm-hmm. And that's something, and I don't subscribe to just because you have a black wife or black husband or date black people that you can't be racist.
Right.
But because I've seen it. It can still be.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody that's really a good person that's dating somebody of a different race will try to understand that person.
Mm-hmm.
Will try to understand what they go through and not dismiss them,
mm-hmm.
and actually try to be an ally. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what you should do with anybody you date. Everybody has their own experiences, so you might try to be an ally to them, whatever the case may be. Well, we just happen to be talking about race.
Mm-hmm.
So she seems like she was actually like trying to be an ally. You know what I mean? Trying to understand, or she understood that he didn't like black people, and she's like, yeah, I don't like that.
I was naive at the time. I just like, this young guy, like, he's watching too much Family Guy. But it may have been more than that.
I would see it, and I wouldn't have thought that at the time.
Yeah, because that show, like, I felt uncomfortable, like, watching that show sometimes, like.
Yeah, but I think that's on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So, not saying there's no underlying shit in there, but yeah, I think a lot of that stuff you're supposed to feel uncomfortable. A lot of it is satire for shit that's uncomfortable, that's real, and that's the thing. Like, I think people don't understand even.
So Peter's racist.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like Archie Bunker. I mean, I know that's before your time. It's almost before my time.
Mm.
But, and it's funny because I just saw a meme about, they were talking about The Boys, because a lot of people are, I don't know if you watched The Boys.
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, the Homelander, one of the main characters, he is, he's basically a Nazi, damn near. He's everything. I mean, he's racist, he's homophobic, he's all that stuff. So, but it's like a caricature,
Mm-hmm.
and people have locked and became super fans of the character because of how he is,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. And he actually came out and was like, you know, he's not the good guy, right? You know, he's crazy. You know, he's a racist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a caricature of he's like embodying America, basically. I mean, you know, you can go down a rabbit hole with that. We're talking about the boys, but and it's a bunch of shows like that. Family Guy's probably one of them where people like what they seeing because it's aligning with them, but not understanding that they're making fun of you. And I think they're starting to, because like the writers and the main characters and stuff came out and started saying stuff like to people. Like I think this dude wanted him to sign something, and he like told him to get the fuck out of my face. Like, he was coming aggressive with the extra shit, you know, the racism. I guess I don't know, but he was like looking at him as a hero. So they're all like coming out. Listen, this is a satire of what y'all think. So then people up in arms, and they had like a meme like all these shows and people are mad now because they're starting to figure out that they're making fun of you. Like people get up in arms like, why is everything so offensive? Because it is. Like there's stuff that's offensive.
You don't understand.
And just because and you don't understand it, and that's just it. And just because you've been doing something for 20 years don't mean you keep doing it. That's the biggest sticking point that I have. It's just like, even though I hate the name and I think the name is terrible, but the Washington Commanders, like just because you've been using Washington, the Redskins for 40, 50 years, like it doesn't make it right. Like it doesn't mean you keep doing it once you understand how offensive it is. You don't just keep doing it just because you are. Now I wish they would have picked a better name than Commanders, but it is what it is. However, I totally agree with changing the name. But again, it's a lot of people that don't have to deal with that. And even it's the privilege of not having to deal with that. And that's another viewpoint that people don't understand. They be like, privilege? I'm not privileged. I'm poor or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. It's got nothing to do with money. It got to do with the fact that you don't have to worry about shit. Like all this other shit, you got to worry about. But there's one thing that you ain't got to worry about. And that's where it comes from. Like that's where the term privilege comes from. The fact that you don't have to factor in your race when you do stuff, and that's why a lot of people can't understand why it's such a big thing. And they be like, why you always make a big deal out of it? Why you always? Because it is. You're the only one that it isn't for.
Yeah, and if you really knew or had the experience,
you would know. Yeah. You would know that every single day of your life, it's an issue, or it's something there underlying it, and you don't have to worry about that. Is that your fault? Because you was born white? No, ain't nobody say it was your fault, and that's what I think they gotta take. A lot of people gotta take the guilt out of it. Like you're feeling guilty because you're feeling guilty. Like that's. And the fragility, like you got to take that out of the equation and just start looking at it for what it is and start recognizing that there's certain things that you don't have to deal with that other people do. And you know, that's not to say you don't have your own problems. It's not to say you don't have your own issues, not to say that you are richer than somebody else or you know, or poor, or you're not. Whatever it is, whatever the case may be, it's not to say discredit that. And that's where I think the fragility comes in. Like a lot of people will think like that. Like, oh, they're saying I'm privileged. I ain't got no problems. Like I ain't got, and that's where it turns into other stuff, I think.
And that applies to different kinds of people. Like to me, the Redskin thing, I'm not directly feeling the offense from that. Like it's just been there all my life, most of my life.
And that's the thing. And that's what I mean. It's been there all your life. So, but you might have a better understanding and not be up in arms and protest the name change.
Right, yeah.
Because you're like, oh, well, it's this group. See, I'm Native American. I have Native American in me.
Mhm.
So, and I got cousins that are full-blooded Native American. You know, I'm mixed, but I have family members that are, you know, full-blooded Native American. One of my cousins is the chief of the tribe, like Lenape tribe in Bridgeton. Like, it's so I have direct ties to Native Americans where I didn't always make the connection. I'm not even gonna say that. Like, I'm not even gonna act like I knew the connection and everything. But once I did know, I could understand, and I kind of internalized it more than maybe you. Like, and but with that said, you still like wouldn't be like, oh, why they want to change the name? Like, protest. Like, you would probably look at it sensibly, and be like, well, it's offending this place, and maybe you want to do some research. Maybe you want to look into it a little bit and see where the name comes from and why it's offensive. You know, and then you would understand a little bit better. It still might not have the same sting, but that's not the point. Like, we're not telling people, oh, it should affect you the same way it affects me. We're not telling people that. We're telling people, you know, it should be as negative to you as it is to us. Like, it might not be as offensive, and might not sting as much, but you knowing that this other person it's affected negatively should be enough. It should be enough for you. And a lot of times it's not.
So that's interesting, because even in like a relationship, right? I could be like with somebody and they could be telling me, stop doing that. Like, I don't like that. And I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good example.
You know
that's a good example. Yeah, that's a good example. Because everybody's different. Everybody has their own experiences. Everybody does stuff. Everybody has their own habits. But like you said, like, somebody would be like, I don't like this. And if it's something, you know, it's one thing if it's a core personality trait. That's probably not going to change. Right. Like, it's hard to change a core personality trait. And you shouldn't want to change that anyway. Like, if somebody wants you to change that, it's probably not a good fit. But there's other stuff that are just habits, are just things that we've done just years and years. And it just became a habit. It's not really a core personality trait. That stuff you can work on, because it might be a negative and you don't even see it. Yeah. Like, it might. So it's the same thing.
It comes down to respect and letting that other person, like, allowing for that other person to be who they are. And
yeah. You know. And that's what I mean when I say a core personality trait. Like, if that's something, like, you shouldn't be trying to change that. Like, that's how the person is. That's what the person is. But there's certain habits and stuff that can change that may be negative or may not be negative to you. It may be negative to you too, but you just can't change it. Or it may not be negative to you, but it's still something that you got to look into. Like, you don't just say, oh, this ain't negative to me. Like, I ain't doing that shit. Right. You know, that's when it's no longer a relationship. Like, it's no longer that. Man, we went on a tirade.
Yeah, it's a little serious. Got a little serious
tirade there. But nah, I think this is important though. And just like the name says, is what we thinking. Yeah. Like, so, you know, it's stuff I won't personally. I don't care. I'm not gonna shy. I know some people might shy away from certain subjects because people won't like it, or people will feel uncomfortable when they're trying to get entertained. But I think people are entertained by a good conversation too. So I think this was a good conversation to have.
I think, like, I've been optimistic a lot, which is great for me, because there was a time when I was younger and I was very depressed. I used to negatively talk to myself in my head.
Negative talk ain't good. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I've been very optimistic and positive. And then, but recently, this week, I thought about some other things, and they felt true to me, even though they weren't just the most positive outlook of things. It just felt true. Like,
yeah, I mean, and that's where I go with because you can't be over positive.
Right.
That's not good either. Like I know it's buzzwords these days when they say toxic masculinity, toxic positivity, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's real. And you can be toxic positive too.
Yeah.
Like you can just be so positive and try to just negate everything negative. There's negative shit that happens to you and it's negative. It's bad. There's bad shit that happens and it's bad, and you need to feel that. You need to feel that badness. Like you need to feel that negative energy.
Because
that's the only way you'll get over it and past it. Is if you take it in. Like you gotta take all that. You gotta take the negative with the positive.
I've also been naive and too positive to where
that's what I'm saying.
I wasn't prepared for a specific situation. I won't really go into it, but I was thinking too positive, and then somebody was able to do something to me. That I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah, true.
You know.
Yeah, I mean they say hope for the best, prepare for the worst, but I don't like that saying. But it's similar to how I try to live. You know, you do have to prepare for certain stuff. It's a.
Why don't you like that saying? It seems pretty good, right?
No, because it the way the saying is. I mean, I guess you can interpret it any way you want. But the way the saying is, to me, it sounds like you're constantly preparing for something bad to happen, and I don't think that's how you should live. I don't think that's how you prepare for the negative. I mean, I think you keep it kind of on an even till, but you lean more positively. You know, there's some stuff that doesn't have a positive spin, and that's just what it is. You know, there's always people want to say, and I'm not knocking anybody that says it to themselves, oh, it always could be worse. I understand where people come from when they say that, but that's the worst thing to tell somebody that's going through some shit. That's the worst thing you can do. Speaking as, well, I'm not a professional therapist. I am in the field, but that's one of the worst things you can say to somebody going through some bullshit is that it could always be worse. It may be true. I mean, it can always be worse. You ain't fucking dead somewhere. Like, that could be worse. You be on the truck somewhere. Like, you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Like, that could be worse. That's worse than whatever's happening now. Whatever's happening is happening to you. Like, it don't matter how little it is to somebody else or how much less of a problem it is than this, you know? But I mean, it's still a crisis. Yeah. It's still a negative thing that you're going through in your life. Yeah. So that's why I say that. Because I just don't think you should constantly be preparing for the worst, even though you're hoping for the, like, it doesn't sound positive to me.
Yeah, and if you believe,
I hope it's gonna be best, but it's probably not. That's how it sounds to me. That's why I don't like that saying. But I mean, it's up for interpretation. I expect the best, but I know the worst may happen. Like that's how, I don't know if I'm conveying that right, but that's how I live. Like, I expect good things. I have a very positive mind, and I always project positivity, but it's not toxic positivity. I know when negative shit happens, I deal with those emotions. I want those negative emotions. It took me a long time to get here too. I'm not saying it like it's easy, because it's not. I mean, I done been in therapy. I done been, just living life. Like, I'm 48 years old. So, like, just from living life, I haven't always lived like this. I've always been a positive person. But, there's been times that put me in holes where I just straight negative. So, I don't want to act like that. However, like I do, I try to expect the positive. And it helps, because even when a negative comes, I'm not super as down as I need to be. And I think what else helps with the negative is when you do deal with it right away, you deal with those negative emotions. A lot of people try to fight those negative emotions, and it prolongs the experience. In my experience, I mean, everybody got different coping mechanisms. Some positive, some negative. Some work better than others. But for me, something negative happens, I'm down, and I'm going to be down maybe the day or two, but I'm gonna take that in. I'm gonna take that negative in. I'm not trying to spin it into a positive light, not right away. But I am looking at solutions too. I'm very solution based. And I think that's just from seeing different things. Like I'm like if somebody got a problem, and sometimes that can be negative too. Because you don't want to just start trying to spit out solutions. I've done that in the past. Like when people come to me with negative, relationships with my girl or anything, like come to me. If she come to me with something negative, I had to, or I'm still learning. I'm still trying to learn, but I had to learn, like, maybe she just wants somebody to listen to her, or maybe she just wants to vent, which is the same thing. Have somebody listen to her. Maybe she don't want solutions right this second. Like me, I'm like, well, what you doing with this? What you do? Well, why are you so negative here? And sometimes I gotta really realize, like, everybody's not coming to you for a solution right away. Like they just might need to get this off of their chest and deal with it just like you deal with it. Like sit with it just like you sit with it. And so that's a hard thing for me sometimes. Like that can come off as being overly positive, toxic to the point where it can be toxic.
Yeah, I've had to learn that too. And then also, like, everybody's solution or what everybody wants to do with that situation is not what you want to do, what you think
you would do.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Nobody's you. And whatever it is, nobody responds to the certain situations as you would, and everybody's unique.
Just like when you was just talking, the way you handled the negativity, I don't know if that's the best way for me to. Because for me, I don't like when I get into the negativity, like when I allow something to bring me there. You know how it makes me feel. Lately, it seems better for me in certain situations to let stuff pass instead of bringing myself down to that level. Just let it pass,
Well, when I say that, there's levels to it. Because it can be dangerous and it can be negative. I know we're talking about negative feelings, but it can be super negative to do that if you have certain other stuff going on too. Like if you have depression, and I want to say that, like if you have depression and stuff, it might not just be the normal sadness. It might not be the normal, or if you can get into a depressive state, living with it might not be the normal live with it. Like it might not be, and maybe you are taking it in as much as you need to or can, and then letting it go because you might sit in it too long, because that's not good either.
Right.
Like just like toxic positivity, toxic negativity. Like there's people that are stuck in that cycle that need that negative, so they sit in it because that's the only way they know that they're alive. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
Like they've been through shit so much. Like that's the only way they know. Like I've had relationships where the person needed riff to understand that I cared about them. You know what I mean? Like, and it was weird to me, but it was how they've grown to know love. Like if you're not arguing with them or you're not, jealous or upset about certain things, they think you don't care. And it's like, nah, I'm just at peace with stuff. I'm not going to get upset at certain things because it's just don't affect me like that. That don't mean I don't care about you, but there's people that have been in chaos so much that that's the only way they can understand it. Is chaos, through chaos. So, what's your favorite cereal? It's like,
Actually, don't eat cereal anymore.
That was some heavy stuff. We had some heavy. That was a heavy topic.
Yeah.
Maybe we can end on something a little lighter.
Like what?
I don't know. We're gonna get out of here in a minute, but I did want to touch on NASA and the astronauts in the space station. They got to stay. Well, they're staying for extra because of Boeing, because I think they have a Boeing spacecraft to come back to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been following what's going on with Boeing, the airplane
Yeah, I've
company.
heard about it. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard about
like
a couple
it's crazy.
things.
Yeah, all that stuff that's happening to all the airplanes, and the fact that I think they allegedly were getting parts, cheap parts, or where they bought it from, they were supposed to be more expensive parts. I think that's the issue that's going on. Like they bought these parts and metal and bolts and stuff from this company, and it was supposed to be titanium, but there's companies making fake titanium. So titanium is really light and really strong, which is why the iPhone and there's other phones that are made out of it. It's really, really strong metal and it's really light. So they're supposed to make their stuff out of titanium, and they've been buying it from a company that makes fake titanium. So that's not good. I'm going on a trip next month. That's not good. So that's always in the back of my mind every time I fly. But I learned today that the spacecraft that they're coming back, the astronauts from the space station, is made from Boeing. So they're checking extra. So they're doing like an extra check. So they're staying up there. They said indefinitely. You know, indefinitely means whenever. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people think indefinitely means forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've come across some people that think indefinitely means forever, but it just means they don't know. But they're staying up there until they can check everything because they want to get back to Earth safe. I mean, that's a lot more intensive than just a plane, like going through the atmosphere and going through all of that with radiation and everything that they got to get through to come back to Earth. That's a lot. So yeah, well, I guess astronauts up there just checking bolts and shit. I wish them the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they come back to Earth safely. I like watching their feeds on well, it's on YouTube and on Instagram. They post a lot of pictures on Instagram, but they have like a live stream on YouTube, I think. It be making a lot of controversies because sometimes they cut it off. So people be like, oh, there's the aliens. They don't want us to see the aliens. They cut it off. They cut it off. But yeah, I don't know.
What they doing there?
I guess they're just doing their normal research. I'm not sure exactly what they do, but I do know they have different experience. I did the VR, so you're on there with them, and you can like you're floating and shit. Yeah. So they have like the different cameras, like real photorealistic. It's pretty dope. With the Quest VR or the Meta VR, or I don't know, Meta Quest, I guess. So yeah, they got where you can go. So they show you, they got different educational stuff too. They show you what they're doing. They tell you what they're doing. So that was cool. Like one part, I don't know everything that they're doing, but I do know the one they're studying like how plants grow. And I also know there's an experiment, I think. Well, no, that experiment might be happening on Earth. They're trying to see how many plants, if you can have enough plants in a room to make oxygen for you, like without any outside, like just recycling your carbon monoxide and making oxygen. I think they're doing an experiment like that. Or somebody might have did an independent. I saw the experiment, something, but it's geared towards, because I know NASA's looking into that too. I think the snake plant is makes the most concentrated amount of oxygen or something. I think it's a snake plant. And they claim it can clean so many amounts of cubic feet per plant. And I saw somebody doing that experiment. So, but on the space station, I do know they have like plant experiments to see what can grow in zero gravity and see all that, just to see how far. I think they're just trying to figure out how long we can survive in space so we can go either to other planets or live out there. Because there is consequences to being in space for a long time. I was listening to one of the astronauts talk about when he came back to Earth and how hard it was to get accustomed to walking. I think he was up there for a year, maybe, or maybe less than a year. I'm not sure, but he said it's difficult when you come back to Earth because you're so you're in zero gravity so long that your bone, I guess your muscles change. You get atrophy in your muscles and stuff. So they're trying to figure out that stuff. Even though they had bikes, and it was cool because they had like they have this exercise machine, but you don't have to get up. You can get on it like any which way. Like sometimes it's sideways, and you just sideways on it, and it's just like normal. And even how they drink coffee and stuff, how they got it and just like floating to their mouth, like they have like a straw, special straws and stuff. Yeah, I think that stuff. You know, we talk about space and aliens and things. I think that was cool. But it was interesting to know that Boeing even affected them. I think they're under like some hearings right now. That's a lot. They might, I don't know.
So by how long has this delayed them coming back?
I'm not sure how long. I know they were supposed to be back though by now, but they're not. They put it on hold just until they can check everything. So like I said, they don't know right now how long it'll be, but I do know they were already supposed to be back. So, you know, from now until whenever, that's how long they'll be up there past what they were supposed to. I guess they have enough of everything that they need. They probably have a whole bunch of extra, probably, I would assume, with people coming up there, because I don't think people understand people going there, not on a daily basis, but it's not average. Like, we don't know. Like, people get launched and go at different times of the year. Like, we don't know all the space missions. It's not like back in the day when it was so big that people, like, every mission was publicized in TV. Nah, they got, they work with some of the Russian astronauts. Like, it's a lot of stuff. China, they work with. It's funny because there's a lot of inter work with space, but here on this planet that we should be dealing with, it's not. And what's funny, I heard this guy talk. He was an astronaut. So I think with all the topics we talked about, astronaut Ron Guerin talked about the overview effect. He's not the first person to say the overview effect, but I think with everything we talked about today, the serious nature of it, everybody would benefit from seeing us in the overview effect. And the overview effect is just what astronauts describe when they see Earth from space, and it changes their perspective on different things, whatever that may be, but just changes their life perspective, and they just see the world as one place and one thing. And it actually, I know Ron Guerin is actually a humanitarian, and he's wrote a couple books now. Seems like a good dude, what I heard him talk. But yeah, I think we all can benefit from having the overview effect. Just remember that we're planetary. It's not one thing. It's not the economy. It's not that. It's like everything at once. When we start solving them problems and start looking at, I should say, when we start looking at that, we'll solve more problems. Like, start looking at everybody as a species. But yeah, I just wanted to end on something more positive. And I think that's it for us. I thank y'all for joining us today on What We Thinking.
Thank you.
And we are out of here. Peace.
Life ain't over. Life ain't over. Life ain't over. As long as you alive, you can give another try and take it real high if you want.